Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about networking in the creator industry because I think this is a skill that goes overlooked so often, and really because a lot of people, specifically like in my age range, have a lot of social anxiety. Thank you 2020 and also the internet. But we're going to go into all of the mistakes that I see people making when they are trying to network as either a new creator or a smaller creator. As usual, I will be getting ready in this video, so let's just get to it. The first mistake that I see people make all the time is that they are always aiming or shooting to network with the biggest creator in the room, or the most popular person, or just the person with the most followers, or even the person that's in charge. So they want to go directly to, the brand heads or the department leads of that brand. And they're like, yeah, like I want to work with your team, blah, blah, blah. I am telling you based on experience, any opportunities that I have received is because I have networked laterally, meaning I have met with other creators who, are my same like follower range, are in the same niche of what I'm doing, and really connecting people that are on my level, right? So that doesn't mean that I never meet anyone that is a large creator than me, because it is definitely helpful to speak to and engage with people that are doing bigger and better things than you are. Like that just comes along with owning your own business and wanting to learn. Like you can't really learn all that much from the people that are at the same level as you, because you're probably both trying to grow and level up as well. But the reason why I still have a lot of importance on those relationships with people laterally is that a lot of times people will come across opportunities that they know you're a great fit for, and they may not have the bandwidth to do it, or they may just be able to connect you with someone else that's also, on the same level as you. I've just received a lot of connections with people that know of someone else, right? They're like, oh, I know India, she's a travel creator, and she would be really great to work with your team, because you guys are looking for travel creators for this hotel brand. They may be, a makeup influencer, they may be a cooking influencer, they may be someone else, right? So I think a lot of times people focus on those bigger people because they think those people have more say or more initiative or more authority. And although that may be true sometimes, typically a lot of the opportunities come people that are laterally for you. Like they have pieces of information they want to share with you, and you guys exchange information or just exchange contact, or whatever it is that may be going on. I think a lot of my most fruitful partnerships and connections have been people that are all the same size as me, right? So when I first moved to LA, I actually had like less than 5,000 followers on Instagram, and that was almost 2 years ago. But when I first moved here, I actually met with a lot of micro influencers or nano influencers as well, because that's where I was. And we'll just talk to them, right? Of like, what do you do? And a lot of those connections I still have today. And even though I've grown past, the nano influencer size, like I still have those really sincere connections, and have then started to meet more people that are on a different level. But I can still like have those connections and have people that are genuinely looking out for me. And I think when you aim for someone that is much higher than you, right, typically they really don't have much to say to you. Like if you're, let's say, a nano influencer and you're talking to a mega influencer, so someone with 1 million followers or above, they are so many steps ahead of you that it just doesn't really benefit either of you to like directly, right? It's great to meet people, like I said. However, those like opportunities, those different things that you may be looking for, you're probably not going to get it from someone that's so much bigger than you are. It generally comes from people that are laterally. So people that are, at your similar position, or at a different company or with a different brand or whatever it may be. Like even if someone is new in their position, I still make time to talk to them. I still make time to get to know them, especially people that are on my same level, because again, that's where I think a lot of the opportunities come from. So that is definitely the biggest, largest, most common mistake that a lot of new people make, is like, oh, I need to talk to, this influencer in the space because, they're leading it and they have millions of followers and they're going to help me and blah, blah, blah. They probably aren't. They may give you, some advice here and there, but those connections, people that are on your level, are going to be so much more beneficial for you, because you guys can both kind of look out for each other as you're growing and, on your journey. The next issue that I see a lot of new creators making is that they tend to aim for the biggest brand collaborations and biggest brand connections. So this kind of ties into the last one, because they think that, again, that's going to get them, further or ahead or whatever it may be. And again, this really goes into the fact that, like, if you are a nano creator, if you're someone that is just getting started in what is it you're doing, it can be really difficult for you to aim as high as a big brand. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have that as a goal, but I am saying that to start out with, it is a lot easier to work with brands that are also starting out at the same time, because you again kind of join each other on this journey of growing together. And it also really facilitates a better personal connection, because if someone just started their, I don't know, smoothie brand, and you just started being an influencer, in the wellness and fitness space, then it just makes a better connection for the both of you, because you're both new to what you're doing, right? You're both more likely to learn from each other and figure out what works for you, as opposed to you both aiming for the highest. Like, the brand is aiming to work with the biggest influence in that space, and you're aiming to work with the biggest brand in that space. It just isn't the best connection to start out with, especially if you were just starting out. So a lot of people tend to, write down like their dream brands and collaborations that they want to work on, and that is all well and fine. I definitely encourage you to do that. However, when you are starting out and when you are networking, it is so beneficial for you to network with small brands and people that are also, maybe just getting into influencer marketing. Believe it or not, a lot of brands still aren't using influencer marketing, even though it's becoming one of the most major ways to market their brands. So a lot of brands that may have just been existing for a while may be brand new to influencer marketing. And even though they've had their brand for years, it's still something new that they're used to. And you as a new influencer can still benefit from working with that brand. So these are all things that you kind of discover as you're meeting people in real life. So it's definitely important for you to meet people in, wherever you are, getting to different events or activations. But yeah, I think typically people will aim for like the biggest collab. Like, they're like, oh, I'm going to get it. I'm going to work with this person. But like, if you don't have any experience, it's really difficult for you to be able to, one, convey how the brand can benefit from you, because it should be a mutual exchange. But also, you also have to understand that you don't really have as much experience in the industry. So it's better to have experienced people that value you as a creator and that you can work with and kind of learn with together before you, aim for the biggest partnership on the block. Okay, the next thing, and this annoys my soul. Oh my gosh, this makes me so angry when this happens. The next thing is, and I typically see this with like nano creators, will cold pitch to big creators asking for contacts. I don't know where this started. I really don't. I don't know how people have the audacity sometimes. It's just actually kind of crazy to me, because as someone who's been in the industry for a while, right, you work with different brands, you have connections with those brands. You may not necessarily have a long-term connection or a long-term partnership with them. You may or may not, right? It really depends on who you are, what you do, your niche, all these different things. But when people will like slide in my DMs and try to ask me for someone's email, they don't follow me, or maybe they do follow me. Doesn't really matter. It's like the cold pitching part that I am like, that's not the best way to go about it. Because if you truly do want to work with a creator, for one thing, like I said, you should be highlighting and focusing on the creator partnerships, like collaboration, people that are like your similar size, and like building together with someone else, because it's going to be the most beneficial for you. But also just like asking someone, for their contacts or for things just like outright is kind of like crazy to me, because having the relationship with a brand or even with a person, right, takes a lot of time to like nourish and trust and build, over time. So people are like, oh, can I just have their contact? I don't know you. I think when you exchange contacts with other creators, I don't think that's a bad thing. I would actually encourage it. But when you do exchange content with creators, I definitely encourage that you do it with someone that you actually know. Because when you do that exchange, whether or not the person knows that that's where they got their email from you, it still is a reflection on you. Like, it would be like if you gave someone a poor reference. Like, if I was like, oh, go to this person, they know exactly what to do and they're going to help you out, blah, blah, blah. And then that person ends up being like a really bad worker, like they just aren't on top of their things. They don't work well. They aren't on time. Like, they don't do things in a timely manner. Like, it will look bad on me to be like, India, why did you recommend this person to me if they're not a good person to work with, right? So I would just be very, very hesitant to cold DM, big influencers asking for contacts. That's kind of beyond me. I don't know. Again, I don't know where this came from. I don't know who decided this was a great idea. That's what you should do. I think a lot of creators are definitely open to helping other creators, but they're open to helping people that they have genuine connections with. So if you don't know that creator, right, and you're just like, oh, I saw you worked with, whoever, because you posted about it, can I have their email? That's really strange to do. In my opinion, I think it's strange. So I would say that is a mistake that a lot of newer or maybe smaller creators will do. You got to have that like genuine connection with people first. When people do that, it gives me the vibe of like, I'm just using you because I want the contact for that brand. And that's when I just straight to the block button. Immediately no, leave me the hell alone. So yeah, definitely don't do that. Opt to have, genuine connections with the creators that you are connecting with, whether it be in person or online. It just gives bad vibes. It really does. That's all I'm going to say about that. Moving on. The next big mistake that people don't do is not meeting people in person. And this obviously goes for people who are in places where they can meet people. But if you are in a location, so let's say you're in like a small town and the biggest city near you is, a few hours away, I actually would encourage you to try to prioritize different in-person events, because those in-person connections go a lot further than the virtual connections. Especially in this day and age, like a lot of people just don't meet in person, or it may just be like kind of more of an exchange via email or like virtually. So it goes a lot longer and it goes a lot further if you can meet people in person. And again, even if you're someone that's located kind of far, try to make time in your schedule to do that. So you can go to like different creator events that brands will host, like different, they call them activations. So different activations. You can also go to different creator seminars and workshops. It's just really, really important to meet people in person, and people tend to not do that if they have social anxiety, which I totally get. But sometimes you just got to charge up your social battery and get to the event and do it. Sometimes you got to trek a few hours to an event and meet people in person, or even get on a flight. I definitely have flown to different events before to meet people and to network with other people. Even when I had a full-time job, when I was an engineer, I would sometimes leave work early if I could, on certain days, and I would go to different events that were all over Philly, sometimes outside of Philly. I remember I did drive like 2 hours to go to an event before, and it was really cool for me to go in person, so I was really happy that I did. But I think also another mistake that comes along with that is that people expect an immediate result or direct result after having that interaction, where a lot of times you don't really know how that interaction will, benefit you, if at all, until months or even years after. As an example, I met a girl in October at a TikTok event. I want to say October 2023, and that connection ended up coming in handy for me come January of 2024. So there was literally no way for me to know that I was going to like reconnect with this girl, in January, but I did. And since then, like we have been in, I would say, distant touch. Like she's not someone I talk to on a regular basis, but it's just cool to be able to know that like, I met you at said event, we talked about yada yada, and we have been connected ever since, like both virtually and actually in person. So I ran into her again in I think April of 2024. But it just goes to show that even though you may meet someone at an event today, that connection may come in handy for you later. And not that every connection has to be an exchange, because we haven't really like exchanged anything, but we are just like, connected, and it's really cool to have people that are located all over to know. I will also say that the creator industry is a lot smaller than you think it is. So if you meet someone at one event in New York, you could probably see them again at an event in Miami, because people do travel for these things. So if you are someone that really wants to prioritize content creation, I would definitely recommend that you try to go somewhere in person where there are other creators, where you can meet people that are in your niche, that are outside of your niche, that have similar backgrounds to you, that don't have similar backgrounds to you. Networking does not have to be difficult, but if you're someone who has social anxiety, or you just like are more of an introvert, you just got to put yourself out there. There's no other way around it. I gotta give you, tips and strategies, but like you have to put yourself out there so people know who you are, and be willing to talk to people, make a few connections. A lot of the times when I do meet people, it is just like so randomly out there. Like, I don't know. I'm a chatterbox when I meet people in person. So if you've met me in person, you definitely know this already. But I also am an ambivert, so I do have to have that recharge time, as like my introverted side. Anywho, meet people in person. Don't expect anything when you meet them in person too. That connection may come around, months, maybe even a year or so later, but it's definitely worthwhile to have an in-person connection versus just a virtual connection. Okay, and the last thing, and this boils my blood. Oh my gosh. So the last thing that people have done to me personally is kind of like, I call it like sizing people up based on, their clout or based on their following or based on the brands they've worked with. I think it's all really corny. I do. Like, it really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things because the industry ebbs and flows. Like, you could have a really great quarter and then the next quarter you could also not have a great quarter. So it changes so much and there's just so much opportunity as well. Like, even if you have, 3,000 followers today, like you could have 60,000 followers in 2 months. So it's not that, your follower size or something matters or that, your platform matters or your clout or whatever it is, your celebrityism. I don't care what it is. It doesn't really matter. And I think when I initially moved and became a full-time creator, I was definitely met with a lot of that, of people, I guess, judging me based on how many followers I did or did not have, and ultimately ended up not mattering at all for any of the connections that I had, for any of the brand deals that I worked on, for all those other things. So if you are someone that meets someone, right, you guys hit it off, it goes well, and then you follow them on socials and they have 2,000 followers, oh well. Like, oh well. You have no idea. They could blow up tomorrow. It's those types of, one, again, like I said, the in-person connections definitely matter more, but you have no idea what's going to happen with people. So if you don't genuinely connect with someone in real life, then I wouldn't recommend that you, add them on social media and try to play this like fake connection game, because that's kind of stupid too. But if you have a genuine connection with them in real life and they may not, have a following that you have or whatever, like that stuff doesn't matter. It actually doesn't matter at the end of the day. And I guess judging people on, what they do or don't have in terms of like social media clout, it's just really lame and really bogus. So hopefully you guys found this video helpful in terms of networking and trying to become more involved in the industry in real life. If you did like it, let me know by giving it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.